Hey, you're listening to Don't Lie to Your Life Coach podcast with Kim Arrington. I'm Kim Arrington. I'm a life coach, a weight loss coach, an author, and a badass passionate about helping you connect back to your most authentic self. Join me here each week so I can coach you on how to think all those juicy thoughts that get you feeling your absolute best and taking some big ass action. Coaching has changed my life, and it can change your life too. I'm here to give you real life solutions to create a life you'll love. Because the truth is, boo, you ain't just got problems, you got options. Hey, y'all. Whew, before we start, I had a coach buddy who got me out of the idea of saying I didn't get enough sleep. He was like, yeah, whatever the sleep you got was enough. And I'm just going to let you know I want to have some more sleep this evening. How about that? I'm excited about today's topic. This is one of the things I talk to the most about when it comes to my clients who are largely women. And it's something that I have struggled with in my life, and that just a couple of tweaks have really changed this. So what we're going to talk about is y'all got a problem with not knowing how to receive. Y'all have a problem with not knowing how to receive. And this is something that can easily change your life, because when you allow yourself to receive from others, that means that you're allowing yourself to be cared for, to be regarded, to be seen, to be respected, to be understood, to be a human, that you aren't subscribing to perfectionism, that you don't think it has to be a certain way. It's like, before I recorded this podcast, when I record podcasts, where I record is very close to an air exchange. So if I have the AC or the heat on, you're going to hear it. So I went and put on my turtleneck dress, y'all. I love a turtleneck. I love a turtleneck. This is brown. I don't know how it appears on camera, but it's like I'm going to say a peanut M&M brown. And I love a turtleneck, and I got on some burgundy leggings, and I got my sock, my peanuts, peanuts, like those socks. I got on some of those socks. And I needed to take care of myself. But also, I need to be able to ask for other people to take care of me too. I'm going to talk to you today about something I call the and doctrine versus the or doctrine. And that is something y'all got to know. So I'm going to tell you a story. I used to work as a teaching artist for about, let's just make it 15 years. And I did this long-term residency in an alternative school where we had police officers who worked there too. We were very cool with them. I live in Durham, and so some of the cops that worked, I had known for years. There was a police officer. I believe I didn't ask for help because I thought he was cute. That was the problem. Now I'm different. If I think you're cute, I'm going to definitely ask for help. But I had my hands full. And he was like, want me to get that door for you? Because the door was closed. I was like, no. And I basically opened the door with a knee elbow combination. I put my stuff down. This was years ago, y'all. I put my stuff down. I turned to him and I said, I should have taken your help. He was like, yeah, you should have. And that moment kind of seared into my consciousness of when someone offers, or when I need the help, ask for it. That's a huge part of receiving. I have 2 podcast episodes I'm going to link: Ask the Right People for Help, and also the Overgiving podcast, because part of the reason why you don't ask for help is because you've identified with needing to be needed, and that can put you in an early grave. I'm just telling you right now, I don't want to be dramatic, but doing more than your body can withstand, that your heart can withstand, literally and figuratively, like your emotional space, and also just like emotionally what you can stand, can increase all of those stress-related ailments we hear about: heart attacks, blood pressure, all these things, and they can have a long-term effect on your body. But I want to ask you a couple of questions. Is this you? Is this you? Do you try to do everything to the point of exhaustion? Do you not believe that people can do it as well as you? That is control, so you don't ask. Is it the past masquerading as the present, meaning that you used to ask for help, you used to receive, you got your feelings hurt, you never want to feel that way again, so you just take it off the table? Is it that you feel like you need to look busy enough, and if you look busy enough or victimized enough or a big enough martyr, that your hope is that someone will come to your defense on their fiery white steed and they will save you and they will rescue you? Does it feel too vulnerable to ask for help, to receive? Does it feel too vulnerable for you to want to get the things you need? And what does it mean about you if you need things from others? And I'll be honest with you all, from the beginning of this podcast to now, I've had a fundamental shift in my belief that other people are here. I call them your 8 billion helpers, to help you, and you're there to help other people. And we're there to receive and there to be an exchange, like not always being the giver. You giving when you can't afford to financially, mentally, physically. Okay, now you need my people pleasing episode. People pleasing ain't pleasing you. If you're giving when you can't give, it is okay to take a give reprieve. It is okay to receive, to become more comfortable receiving. And is delegation a cuss word for you? What do you mean delegate? What do you mean telling people what to do? I see this the most with y'all and your kids. Y'all haven't taught your kids to look out for you. You haven't taught your kids that they're a part of this family unit. You haven't taught your kids that they need to give too. Now I got to put in another podcast, getting off the parenting struggle bus. This is something that will absolutely change your life. When I feel like shitballs, one of the things I ask is, where could I be receiving? Where could I be letting someone show up for me the way I show up for other people? That's when that phone gets turned off, or like right now, that phone is upstairs, or like I sometimes used to post on Facebook, don't ask me for anything. Like that is a fundamental way to feel more connected to yourself, to pull back all your energy, to pull back everything for you. Y'all get another podcast. Maybe it's time to pull back your energy. I think maybe it's time to pull your energy back. This is something we're going to keep talking about because I really want to give you all things. And this is, to me, one of the big differences between therapy and coaching. Coaching is like a 1-2 punch to try to give you something that can change your life deeply and meaningfully and quickly. And to me, therapy can do that, but also kind of wants to go back and look at some of the patterns. We do some of that in coaching, but we really want to give you something on the way out the door that will help you immediately. I want us to talk about part of the reason why you don't receive. A lot of this is inherited. A lot of us saw mothers who couldn't receive. So let me talk about some of your mothers. Some of your mothers didn't like you doing things that were basic skills. Some of your mothers wouldn't let you wash your own clothes. Some of your mothers wouldn't let you help in the kitchen. You could make you a snack after school, but you couldn't help with dinner. Some of your mothers felt like their identity was so tied to them doing everything because it was passed down generation after generation. Their mothers and their mothers and their mothers and their mothers. But, that all had a cost. Many of our mothers overate because they were stressed about all they had to do. Many of our mothers pull back emotionally because they felt like they were giving so much externally and physically that they weren't able to give emotionally. So when you are able to receive, you've heard this whole proverbial thing, when your cup is full, you can pull from a full cup better than a half empty cup. When you're able to receive, you're able to control that cup. You're able to do the things you want. You're able to have more fun. You're able to feel more connected. So let's get into it. First things I want to talk about, I used to call it the both doctrine. So if you're my client, I used to call it the both doctrine, but now I changed it. I get to change stuff. I call it the and doctrine and the or doctrine. You hear this all the time. I have a friend, we talk about this almost every day. It's not an or. Like, let me give you an example. My kid either has to clean his room himself or I have to clean it. But last weekend, my 16-year-old son actually started a day before him. It was and we both cleaned his room. I helped put structure around it, helped hang up clothes, helped to declutter. I asked him questions. I gave him specific, chores to do in his room. And one of the things, if y'all want to make kids happy, give them a choice. Would you like to do this or would you like to do that? That kind of sets their brain up for, well, I got a choice, so I don't want to say an automatic no. Of course, sometimes your kid will say no, then you give them three, or maybe this, and let's choose one of them. So we cleaned his room together, and it was an doctrine. I wasn't going to clean his room, just myself. We were going to do it together. And we're a blended family. So he came back in yesterday, and it was so lovely how he did this. He said thank you about 5 or 6 times. He walked into his room because I said to him, I said, hey, how do you feel about now walking into this clean room? Because I'm going to tell you, we took out 6 bags of clothes to donate, toys. And this was not the first time we had done this activity. It had been a long time. But I knew he needed help. I knew that he wasn't able. Remember, y'all, your kids, their frontal cortex is not as developed. Their brain is not as developed as yours. So they don't have all the ability to do problem solving and solutions and executive functioning, right? Executive functioning is in the front of that brain. That means being able to do multiple tasks and have multiple processes going on at one time. I knew that he wasn't going to be able to do it on his own, but I knew he could maintain it. And I talked to him as I was doing it. And we still have a bookcase to handle in the top of his closet. I have a solution for some of his certificates and artwork that we've collected over the years. It looks so much better. But I said to him, I was like, how do you feel about your room? He was like, well, as long as it's not dirt and grime, I'm okay with stepping over clothes. But then he came here yesterday to pick up some stuff before he went to his mom's house. And he was like, you know what? I want to thank you. He said, because I just walked in that room and it felt really good. And he was like, he's so sweet. And then he was like, and you know what? Because I knew when it was kind of junky where everything is, I have to kind of look. He said, but it's easy to look and see where everything is. And I really like it. And I was like, he was my every single day, y'all. I have a simple pleasure. He was my simple pleasure for the day. Like him coming back. And I was like, I just love how you came back and you revised that and you changed your mind and you rethought about it. And it makes me feel so good. And he was walking out the door. He's like, seriously, thank you so much. He was so sweet. He texted me later from his mom's house and was talking about the meal that he was making and how he'd like to make it for my husband and I. It was just a sweet, tender, loving moment. And he's 16. So those don't happen like they happened when he was 5 and 4. Okay. So here's what I'm saying to you. That illustrates the doctrine. If I had been like, oh, he has to clean up it, either he cleans up his room or I clean up his room. But with the doctrine, it was, we did it together. I want you all to think about where in your life you need some ands. You need more ands instead of ors. Ors usually have an ultimatum on them. Ors usually are like black and white thinking. There's only one way it can happen. But an and is sexy. And an and allows for people to show up and for you to show up in a way and to change your damn mind too, if you need to. I'm going to tell y'all right now, y'all throw the word burnout around a lot. I feel burned out. What you don't say is that you got the flamethrower and you're burning yourself up. Fire Marshal Bill? Remember Fire Marshal Bill? That's what you're doing. What you're doing is you are not receiving. You're not asking for what you need. You don't even really know what your needs are. I'm going to talk about a client I had yesterday and how it was so transformative for her. But you are burned out because you're giving, but you're not receiving. You don't even know the mechanism to ask. You don't want to feel the vulnerability it takes to say, can you do this? So before I tell you about my client from yesterday, I want to talk to you about, I have these gym pals, these gorgeous gym gals that I hang with. And it's funny, when I first used to go to the gym, I'd smile. I have a big personality. I like to have a lot of fun when I'm working out, but I didn't have buds. And now I have buds. And one of our buds is at a time where she needs a little support with her family with a meal train. And my bud, who was like an IT extraordinaire, was like, you want me to do the meal train for you? And I paused for a second because it was my idea to do the meal train. And then I paused and I was like, yeah, could you? And she built the meal train. And I went back and changed a couple of things. But overall, she created this beautiful foundation. And now my friend has raised about $500 and, gotten, I don't know, last time I checked, it was 24 participants for donations and meals to help support her family. A pause is important. Pause to see, and I'm going to give you a bunch of other ways towards the end of the podcast. That's why you need to keep listening so that you can find out what to do to be able to receive more. Now, I want to talk to you about my client from yesterday. I was talking to her and I was like, well, tell me what you want. Like, what do you want? What are your needs? And she started crying immediately, which I was like, I got her. Good. This is something her spirit, her soul, her heart needs. And so I knew I had her. I knew that this was going to be, like I told y'all, coaching is transformative. If you want to coach with me, y'all better get on it. I'm moving away from taking very many private clients every year, and most of them are going to be happening the year prior. So go to kimarrington.com and hit the join the wait list. I will get back with you when I have an opening. And so with her, she immediately went to, well, I asked my mom this question and she didn't know, and it broke my heart and she started crying. I was like, close your garden gate. You've got to leave your mom outside first. Because your mom doesn't know something, that's its own other pain. We're not touching that right now. Leave that be. Let's talk about your needs. And she was like, I don't know. And she, I was like, you are going to know. If you have a question that you need to answer, let's answer it. Boom. I started and she started dropping them like it's hot. She was dropping them needs like it was hot. Okay. Dropping it like it was hot. She couldn't believe it. And I kept saying the number to her. Okay, we're on 12, we're on 25. I added in a couple that I had noticed. And before we knew, she was on 25. And then I was like, she loves little projects. She loves being visual. She's going to probably be starting a blog. And I was like, go to Pinterest and come up with visual representations of this. So your brain, your subconscious loves pictures because you're basically rewiring your subconscious, which 90 to 95% of you is all about keeping you safe. Now you're creating pictures of possibilities. And she put stuff like, she was surprised. She was crying. She was like, I can't believe I'm saying this about family. And we talked about, she was like, well, so many of these have to deal with safety. And I was like, look, if you work on feeling safe, nobody, the big bad wolf can't get you. You're not going to be the pig that built your house out of straw. You're not going to be the pig that built your house out of twigs. You're going to build your house out of bricks. And when that big bad wolf, whenever somebody has something they're saying that's all about them, comes to you, your safety is that brick house. She's a brick house. That's your safety. You're the safety. When you are the safety, when you change, everyone around you has to reorganize and change. That's actually not only just universal law, I'm going woo on y'all, but it's also how physics works. Like when we're matter. When you change, when your atoms change, everything around you changes. Now, I'm really talking about from an emotional perspective, but when people know they can't try you, when they try you and you shut that shit down, guess what they don't do? They don't try you no more. They respect you. Let's talk about those needs. So here's the question. Do you know how to give to yourself? How to do it? What do you need? How often do you need it? Do you know your needs? I made a list of 81 needs over a week or so that I wanted from others, but here's the punchline. Here it is. The punchline is that every single one of these needs, I have to be willing to give to myself, or I have to give to myself too. Remember, it's the and doctrine. I can ask someone else for my needs, and I can do it for myself, because that or doctrine is shitty bitty. It's a shitty bitty situation. Or is, well, if someone doesn't give this to me, it sucks and I don't have it. Or is, I can only give it to myself. And I told y'all, I have to admit, early on in this podcast journey, I just told y'all to give it to yourself. Give it to yourself. I need to put some and on it, slap some and on my name. Okay, slap some and on my name and tell you also it's okay to ask for others. And guess what? If the person can't give it to you, baby, you ask for somebody else. And you don't make it about you that the person you wanted to give it to you didn't give it to you. You know what? As a matter of fact, that's a huge emotional maturity, emotional freedom. It's a huge emotional maturity doctrine that you keep asking. One of the big things I do for my clients is we create a magic list of the people who you can rely on, people you can co-regulate with. I actually call it a co-regulation list or a magic list of people who you know you can go to. You keep asking the right people, and you don't make it mean anything when the wrong person can't give you what you need. That's a waste of time. I told you I made a list. Here are some of my needs from others, and I give this to myself. The need to have a two-sided intellectual conversation, the need to not be the only person initiating things, the need for passion, the need to be listened to, the need for variety, the need for fun, the need to be seen, heard, and understood, the need to be supported, the need to be respected, the need to spend quality time together in various ways, the need to get help when I ask for it, the need to be deeply loved, the need to be committed to, the need to feel safe, the need to be financially responsible, the need to be responsive and stay in contact, the need to be in the present, the need for the person to care for themselves, the need to be considered, the need to be appreciated. I do these all for myself. That's 20 of my needs. So let me ask you, dear listener in podcast land, what are your needs? Can you get out a Google Doc? Can you get out your note app on your phone? And can you answer what your needs are? What are your needs? What are your needs? I'll tell you, some of my immediate daily needs are, like I said earlier, with my kid, to notice one simple pleasure, to take myself on a walk. Sometimes that walk is in the woods, to journal. Whenever I roll out of bed, the first thing I usually do is I journal. Okay. So those are things I want you to think about. Tonight, my immediate need was, I said to my husband, I'm not cooking. Can I tell y'all something funny? I wrote this down the other day. I said, my freezer is my sister wife. I will freeze anything. The spaghetti we had last night was from last week, where I froze. It was probably about 3 bowls worth of sauce left. I made some noodles. That's what I'm having for dinner tonight. I didn't have that for dinner last night. I ate a leftover rib that my husband had made. Ribs. I let my freezer give me help. I receive from my freezer. Y'all better receive from your freezer. I want you to consider making a list of people who you know will give to you. And I don't want you to abuse that list to constantly ask. I do want you to center doing things for yourself and think about times where you can ask other people. I just reached out to my high school buddy. Shout out Ed. Ed listens to the podcast. What up, Ed? You know, I put out that I needed an electrician. And I said, Ed, if you're coming, can I cook for you? And Ed was like, hell to the yeah, Bobby. Ed did not say hell to the yeah, Bobby, but I don't know how to do fuses and wires and stuff. My husband knows how to do stuff YouTube related, but we need a professional to come in to help, kind of like a coach. Some of y'all need a coach to help with this. Some of y'all don't have the ability yet to know how to identify your needs, to ask for your needs, to receive, and you need someone to help you. And sis, I got you. I got you. This rule in my course I came up, it was called the happy wife rule. And it's around invisible work. I don't want to get too deep in that. I'm going to do a whole podcast around invisible work. But invisible work is the work where you're keeping a lot of things in your mind. You're keeping all the kids' appointments. You're keeping the food allergies. You're keeping like their schedules. You're constantly rummaging in your head about everybody else's details. And one of the things that I talked about after I talked about invisible work was this whole idea that happy wife rule number one, which is you need to allow your spouse, and let me just expand this to allow the people in your life, like it's not your job to be their emotional barometer or thermometer, okay? That they get to have their feelings, they get to be in bad moods, they get to experience what they experience, and you don't have to take those things on. They are allowed their own pace at how they do things. They are allowed their own process. It is damaging to try to come in and co-opt someone's process all the time. You can't do that and have your own process and your own pace. And I'm going to call some of y'all out right now. I got this wonderful weight loss course, Half Life. And honestly, if you get it on the front end, you're going to get a ridiculous price. It's not a course, it's a program. It's a way to finally lose your decades long weight. And some of y'all got the money to pay for it, but you won't pay for it because you won't receive. Like, I'm literally giving you the keys to the castle. I'm telling you, you can keep eating your greasy fries and you can still lose weight. I'm telling you, you can save money and time and stress and still lose weight. As a matter of fact, let's cut to the commercial right here so you can hear for yourself. Hey, I'm Coach Kim, and I'm your last weight loss coach. But I've cracked the code. 65 pounds of weight loss later, and I can teach you how to keep weight off, because I'm going to teach you all about the thing you really want, which is lasting weight loss. All about my weight loss program. It's called Half Life Weight Loss. Learn how to stop overeating, lose weight, and gain yourself back for successful women over 40. And you better know successful is an acronym that we'll talk about all in my course. But here's the deal. With Half Life Weight Loss, you're going to get 15 plus hours of instructional videos that you can listen to any time of the day or night. They're yours to listen to as you want. You're going to get a workbook that's going to help you answer all those questions to get you to lasting weight loss. Email support. Okay, I'm going to check in on you via email every now and then. An audio version of the course. So think about it. You're going to already get a video version, right, that you're going to be able to watch, but you're going to get an audio version to take with you on a walk or in the car or when you're doing the dishes. I'm also going to include a downloadable 75 things to do other than overeat, because with Half Life Weight Loss, I have really 3 goals for you. Learn how to not overeat, which results in lasting weight loss if you continue. Learn all the other things you'd rather do than overeating, and learn how to remember who you truly are. All right, no one does it better than me. So I want to see you here to get it done. You to press go. I want you to do this for yourself. This is the best time to lose weight. You are the best version of you to lose weight, and I'm going to help you every step of the way. It's time to upgrade your solution, and I got you. Half Life Weight Loss is going to help you gain your whole self back. I got you. All right. Can't wait to see you on the inside. All right, so that means you all want to go to kimarrington.com/weight loss, all one word. You want to go there and you want to learn more about the course, okay? You get on the list and then you'll get more information about the course. Here is the thing. Sometimes someone else needs to build it. Sometimes someone else needs to do it. Sometimes an expert who doesn't know what you know can get you there quicker. And to receive is to receive that expert advice. I cannot tell y'all be talking about how your back is big and how this and that. And then here's this thing, you know, this down-to-earth woman named Coach Kim has come up with this, and then you won't put skin in the game by paying for it. You spend the amount of money I'm asking for in a month or two, not even thinking about it. So you've got to be willing to receive a solution. You've got to be willing to receive a solution that can change your life. It can happen in the blink of an eye. A solution that can change your life from someone who's done it and knows more about it than you do. You don't know as much about weight loss as I do. You do not. And you damn sure don't know as much about lasting weight loss than I do. Hit them show notes and click on that link. While it's ridiculously affordable, because I am a giver, and I decided I was going to give a certain amount of units at a certain price. But once that's gone and this program costs $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 if I choose to do that, you're going to think back about the people who got it at the ridiculously affordable price, because that's how Coach Kim rolls. At least initially. Let's talk about what to do about these things. I know I've sprinkled a couple of things in, but I want to give you like more than a few to do. You're going to have to let go of holding on to old toxic ways. Like, that's the worst kind of old school. You're going to have to let go of being scared about being hopeful. Y'all know I talk a lot about hope. One of the ways you do that is remember I talked about the meal train? I paused because I really think it was my ego was like, no, I came up with this and I don't want to ask for anyone and I should take all the onus of it and I shouldn't do it. But I paused and I said yes. And I did not feel totally comfortable, even though I feel totally comfortable with the person. But because it was my idea, but I was like, it's okay to get help. And she did a wonderful job and I appreciate her so much. She's my co-pilot. You got to pause and say yes, especially if it makes you uncomfortable. That is how you receive. That is how you receive. You've gotten used to giving too much. You can also get used to receiving too much. Okay, you might not get to too much, but you can get used to receiving. You can build up a tolerance. How do you do that? You gotta put yourself in a position to receive. How do you do that? You gotta ask for help. You gotta know where you need your help. You gotta say, hey, do you mind finishing the sentence? Receiving feels great too. Man, my stepson was my little Zen master on that yesterday. He was like, he changed his mind and he was like, yeah, I loved receiving. And it energizes me to give in ways that I want to give. If you're always the giver, you think you're in control. But look, we ain't Janet Jackson. We're going to let go of control. Letting go of control is scary at first. When I was a singer-songwriter, I guess I still am a singer-songwriter. I just choose to sing and songwrite these coaching lyrics. When I did that, I wrote a song called Getting to Yes. And one of the lines was, control born from heartbreak. Control born from heartbreak. I'm getting to yes. Letting go of that heartbreak that puts you in the need to control in the first place is you're getting to yes. If you stick to it, if you work every day to let go, let the past be in the past, dead and gone, and you bring in someone like me or a therapist or a counselor or whatever to help you, you can begin to let go of that control more and more until you don't even need it. It's not there anymore. You can be an overgiver with your gratitude when people do something for you. That's kind of what Isaac taught me yesterday. He said, thank you like 6 times. He was an overgiver with his gratitude. And it makes me want to be an overgiver with my gratitude when someone does something for me. That's what life is about. It's not just about you being the doer. It's about you being the receiver too. And finally, this is one of my favorite ones. Make it funny, y'all. A sense of humor saves your life. Make it a joke. Make it funny. Well, I'm terrible at asking for help. So like, I would love you to do this. Or I'm terrible at asking for help. Can you look at this and tell me like what I could do to get some help? Like, what would you do? I was just talking to my girlfriend and I'm her sounding board. And I said to her, you need to consider asking your partner for his perspective on this. And, she was kind of like, well, he just says, well, why don't you do what you want to do? And I was like, well, then stop him and say, no, I really, really need like what you would do. What do you think? And you're not going to do that every day. You're going to do that every now and then. You're going to train him to give his perspective. And you can omit whatever details that make you feel ooey gooey, and keep it to the basics. Making it a joke, making it funny, and also pushing yourself to have different sounding boards. Remember, receiving isn't just like a tangible thing. It could be support. It could be anything that allows you to feel unburdened. That is it. When you are receiving, you feel unburdened, that you are the person. You're not Atlas. You know, Atlas, I don't remember if it's Greek or Roman, y'all. Y'all are yelling at it. Is it Greek or Roman? Atlas, who was holding up the world on his shoulders. Don't none of y'all want to be no Atlas. Y'all don't want to hold up the world on your shoulders anymore. So you have to change your behavior. We are so focused on other people changing their behavior, the freedom you want, the emotional freedom you want. Y'all, I promise that's going to be my first book. I'm going to write all about emotional freedom. The emotional freedom you want is in you receiving too. And doctrine. I give and I receive. All right, y'all. This is a good one. This is a good one. Speaking of giving, I'm actually thinking about starting a Patreon to support this podcast, because that's a way for me to receive too. I put in hours and hours. I love doing this. I love the fact that it can be gratis and free for people who don't have the means to pay for it. But some of y'all might need to give me a little monthly support, and I give you an extra support as a result. So I'm toying with that right now. I'm thinking through that. Anyway, this was a good one. Y'all, this week, make a list about what your needs are. Make a list what other people can help you. Consider that you're going to meet your own needs on that list too. So it's double duty. It's and I meet my needs and I can ask for this. And try every day to think about, even if you don't ask, what is one thing I could have done? What is one thing I could have delegated to someone else? What is a way that someone else could have shown up for me? All right. Y'all have a good one. Mwah. See you next week. Same time, same place, same coach.
Are you feeling what you just heard? Good, good. Repeat after me. You don't have to figure it out on your own again anymore. I'm here to help. Head over to KimArrington.com and download my free video series dedicated to getting you feeling your best right now. Look around, there's some good stuff waiting on you. Got questions? Well, we're always talking on the socials, so find me on YouTube, Insta, and the book. Don't be shy, y'all. Go listen to another episode or join me here the same time next week. Finally, don't keep good shit to yourself. Share this with a homie that could use some help too. Remember, we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're not lying to our doctors. And you damn sure don't lie to your life coach.